WGSN-DB Going Solo Network welcomes you to You Can Find Love After 50 with your host, dating coach Lisa Copeland. Lisa's best-selling book on Amazon, The Winning Dating Formula for Women Over 50, has helped women all over the globe find love. Her weekly column in the Huffington Post, which is viewed by millions of readers, along with her unique insight into how to find a quality man, makes her the #1 dating coach for women over 50. And now, your host, Lisa Copeland.
Hi everyone, I am Lisa Copeland, the host of the You Can Find Love After 50 show here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And I want to welcome you today to our show. We're going to be talking about men today because, especially in the over 50 group, there is so much that is disconnected from who men are and who we as women think they should be. So I remember when I was growing up in the days of women's lib, and we all burned our bras and we said, female power. And the funny thing is, what we didn't realize was the true power we were giving up. One of the great things that happened with women's lib was women were able to get jobs they couldn't get before. One of the toughest things that happened with women's lib is women became superheroes. We started doing everything, not only trying to do really well at work, but we were also responsible for so much at home, and it pretty much wore us out. And we became pretty exhausted and pretty burned out. The thing about women's lib is it taught us to be equals in relationships on the wrong level. So let me tell you why, because I know a lot of women get really mad at me when I say this, and a lot of men write to me at my website at findaqualityman.com and thank me profusely for trying to help women understand this. Women's lib taught us to be masculine females. So what's the problem with that? We show up in our man suits at work, we're coming from our brains, we're super smart, and we end up competing with men. Now, have you ever played a game with a man? What does he do? He plays to win. Right? Yes. So at work, by coming from your masculine side, you lost the cooperation of men helping you. And we lost this at home because what we started to do in our love lives is we began to show up from our masculine side in our relationships. One of the biggest things men are looking for in a woman is an emotional connection to her through her heart. Men love that you are smart. There is not a man out there that won't say he loves or is proud of the woman in his life who is intelligent and even more so, self-confident. That is one of the biggest things that men are attracted to in women is your self-confidence. That's because they don't have to be the one that you're always relying on to take care of everything. That can feel like you have someone really needy in your life. And that's hard on us as women and hard on men. So we learned to come from our masculine side in relationships. And what ended up happening to us is men stopped helping us. We became what they perceived as demanding and ordering them around. And I can remember my first husband, he would say to me, "You are ordering me around." And I would think, what? What are you talking about? Because all I was doing was asking him in a sweet way to help me do something. At least I thought it was sweet. So I would say to my ex-husband, I would say, "Honey, could you move that table for me?" If you're a female, that sounds like, oh, what's wrong with that? That is, of course, why wouldn't I help you move that table? When a man hears that, he hears his mother telling him what to do. And then it becomes an order or a demand. So what do you do about that? And why does this happen? The reason this happens is because men need to be your hero. Men want to step up and they want to help you. And you need to ask from a place where they can do that. The disconnect is we as women, we're community oriented. It's one for all for one. So if a woman heard me say, Jill, could you please help me move this table? She'd go, of course, let's go. Because she hears it as, let's make the community better. But men, it is in their DNA coding to really be your hero. They are very, very much about wanting to make you happy. But they also come from a place of needing to know that they can make you happy and needing to feel needed in your life. So I know a lot of women say, I don't need a man, I want a man. I used to say that before I really understood how men thought. That's what I would say too. I don't need a man, but because a man needs to feel needed, I made space in my life to allow him to be the man. Ladies, when you take this away from a man, when you take away his ability to feel needed, he leaves. He's out of there because he wants a woman he can make happy and he can be her hero. It's so important to a man because it's in his DNA coding. Also in a man's DNA coding is to make you feel safe and protected. All you got to do is go back to the caveman days where women were the nurturers and gatherers. We've heard tons of comedians talk about this, and it's really funny when you hear them talk about it, but it's really important to understand how this coding is so ingrained in all of us. So men were the ones that went and hunted. They brought back the food so that their family would eat. They brought back the skins of animals that would protect their family from all the elements that they were facing. Women were the nurturers. Women took care of the children, and women could see everywhere. If you were a mother, you know what I mean by this. You knew exactly where your kids were. You could be talking to your friend, but out of the corner of your eye, you were following where your children are. Men had to be single focused. When they were out there hunting, they could not take their eye off the prey or off the prize, because if they did, they could be the dinner for the animal. And if they talked with their fellow cavemen out there, the animal would hear them. It would give everything away, and there would be no dinner that night, and their family could possibly starve. So men became very single-focused. They were on the hunt. This is all they were paying attention to. And women were out there nurturing the families, gathering the berries and everything else they needed. And women created the community then because they could do their job and still talk. So when men became single-focused, this continued through their DNA. And women became community-oriented, then this continued through their DNA. But what happened was, back in the caveman days, if you did not have a man going out to hunt for you, your family could die. And that's why a woman did everything in her power to make a man a priority. He would eat first. He would have the best cuts of meat. And the reason for that is she needed him to be strong, to go out there and hunt for the family. The way that's translated today is oftentimes we bend like a pretzel to please men. Whereas it really needs to be the other way around. Men want to please you, but we please them. And what happens is we give ourselves up, a lot of pieces of ourselves in a relationship. What happens is we become a little dull. So what do I mean by this? I can remember after a relationship ended for me, it was between my first and my second husband. And there was a relationship in there. It was 2.5 years. And we had spent 2.5 good years together, having dinner every night, going out on the weekends. And all of a sudden, I'm there alone. And what had happened was when I was doing all that with the man in my life then, I gave up the things that I loved doing so we could be a couple because I thought that would make him happy. So when I gave all that up, what ends up happening is you become more like the man. What attracted you to this man in the beginning was your passion for life. You don't want to give that up. You really want to have that passion for life. So I learned better after that. I'm in an awesome relationship now, yet I still go out with my friends for dinner. I still play bridge. Yes, I can be on that intellectual level. I love bridge. It makes my mind think. It's amazing. But I go and I play bridge once a week. Sometimes I play cards with these other girls once a month. I still like to do art. I still love gardening. And I gave so much of that up when I was in other relationships because I thought that I had to take on a man's activities. And I'm here to tell you, stop it. It comes from the caveman days where we bent like pretzels so the man would be okay and keep us safe. Today, where we have so much, the man can keep you safe. He doesn't need the best cut of meat. He doesn't need you to be there to always do what he wants in his life. When you lose that spark, he wonders, what happened to that woman that I first started dating? He really starts thinking this. So keep your life passions in your life. Yes, you need to make room and space for the relationship, but the man in the relationship should not be your whole life. You need balance. So my guy and I, we have dinner almost every night, but I still make plans to go out with friends. I think it's really important. And he has his activities as well. And then when we come together, it's a lot more fun. We both are bringing more to the table this way. I want to go back to something super important I mentioned about the caveman before, and that is the single focus that cavemen have, okay? Or had. Well, men today are still very single focused. We as women can go up to a man and he's very busy doing a task we've asked him to do. And you may have gotten a phone call from someone with really tough news. And you're crying and you go up to him and you're standing there and you're really crying and he's busy fixing whatever it is and you're thinking, this guy's an a-hole. What is wrong with him? Why can't he see? I'm sobbing here. The reason he can't see it is because he's single focused on what he's supposed to be doing. So as a woman, it's your job to direct him emotionally to what you need. So if he's single focused, you just need to tap him and you need to say, I just had the worst phone call. I am feeling so sad. Believe me, he will stop what he's doing because a man, an emotionally healthy man, truly wants to make you happy. Another single focus thing is when you get in the car with a man. Have you ever gotten in the car and you think, oh, I have him to myself. We're going to talk about the relationship, right? Going to talk about the relationship and we're going to figure out what the heck is the matter and we're going to get this straightened out and we're not going to get out of the car until we have this figured out. Ever do something like that? Now here's the problem, ladies. Your guy is getting in the car And his job is to keep you safe and protected. So he is focusing on how to get you there the best way possible, because that's his job. One of the worst things you can do at this point is say to him, honey, I think you should have turned left, because that would have been faster. Believe me, I had to learn this too, because my guy, it drove me up the wall that he went what was to me the slowest route in the world. To him, he loves the journey. I love the destination. I want to get where I'm going and be there. And he loves to look at everything around. And when I say to him, honey, I think you should have gone this way, he's insulted. And I couldn't understand why. But the reason he's insulted, I do understand why, is because he's trying to get me there safely. And I'm undermining him. It's like I'm saying to him, you don't know what you're doing. I don't trust you to get me there. This is what he's feeling. Like you don't trust him when he does something for you. Super, super important. Let him do his thing. I've had to zip it up and just shut my mouth, even though I'm like inside going, oh my God, we would have been there 10 minutes ago. Let him do his job. That's something we forgot about when our roles changed so much with Women's Lib. We forgot that men have certain jobs, and that's to keep you safe and protected and get you where you need to go. Let's go back to the relationship thing now. Actually, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll come right back to it. You're listening to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network.
This is Cece Schatz, and I'm an inspirational speaker, divorce, life, and transitional coach with a unique style of healing from within. With that, been here, done that approach to life. I hope you'll join me each and every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Going Solo with Cece, where we bring you educational, informative discussions through the devastation feelings of divorce to finding yourself and redefining your best life. We will take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of divorce, parenting, being single, relationships, dating, and yes, sex. So be sure to tune in every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Going Solo with Cece.
I'm Lisa Copeland, the host of the You Can Find Love After 50 show, and today we're talking about men. We're doing the whole scoop thing on who these men are because so many of us really don't know who men are. We oftentimes think that they're women in men's bodies, and I got hot news for you. Men don't think like women, and when we continue to think that they do, it creates this huge disconnect in our relationships or in our dating life, and we don't get our needs met. I was talking about before that little commercial break about men that are trying to get us somewhere, and we trap them in the car and we want to talk about the relationship. Now remember, men are very single focused. His job is, gotta get her there safe, gotta get her there safe. Whereas we, because we think like a community, are thinking, we're going to work out our relationship problems here. He literally cannot hear you. He cannot focus on getting you there safely and how to deal with the relationship. You can talk mundane things with a man while he's driving and focusing on how to get you there. You could talk about the weather. You could talk about the news. You can't talk about the relationship or anything he has to seriously focus on. When you do this, you're setting yourself up to fail with him. He can't do it. Save it for before you went in the car or when you're at the restaurant. I don't even think I would do that because that can really ruin a good meal if you're having issues. But remember that men are so single-focused, and your job as a female really is to give them direction on the emotions you're feeling. But you can't come into that single-focused area and do it. Now, if you have a question for a man and he's single-focused on a project or a task, what you want to do is you can knock on the door and you could say, honey, can I ask you a favor? When you have a couple seconds, can we talk about something that's going on? When you have the time. And a man is so grateful because what you're doing is you're telling him you want to talk about something and you're willing to be patient. And what you're really showing him is that you understand his single focus, that he needs to focus on what he's doing. He cannot switch. We as women are very gifted in terms of we can start on point A, then we can move to point C, and we can go to F. We can even go to Z and come back to D and A. We can be everywhere and follow it. Men cannot do that. Men can only follow what's in front of them. It's that single focus. So let's talk about what you talk about with men. Have you ever watched a man's eyes glaze over? And it just pisses you off to no end, like, why can't you listen to me? Or have you ever told a man a story and all he wants to do is fix it for you? He just wants to make things better. And you're thinking, why can't you just listen to me? Just listen. Stop trying to fix. The reason this happens is you're not understanding where they're coming from. Let's talk about when you tell a story to a man. Men love to fix. Why? Because it's in their DNA coding to make sure you're safe and protected and everything is okay for you, and they want to make you happy. So when you share with a man a story about you and how you're upset, he's going to want to fix it for you. He's going to want to make it better because that's his hero response to you. Truly, that is what he wants to do, is to make you happy. If you don't want a man to fix something, you got to say to him, honey, I would love to share this story for 5 minutes. I need to vent. Can I just do that for 5 minutes? A man can focus for 5 minutes. You go beyond that without him having to fix, he loses it because his focus is nowhere. Remember, in your story, he's focusing on how to help you. But when there's nowhere to go in this story, it can kind of be like lulling a man to sleep because there's nowhere for him to go. Where are we going next? He can't always follow, but he can for 5 minutes. He truly can listen to you. Now, if you want to share a story about your friend's brother's sister's child, okay? And this horrid thing that happened or this great thing that happened, men have said to me, I cannot follow that, and it's not important to me. So I lose it. And you're thinking, how the heck do they lose it? Men are not community-oriented. Men are single-focused. Let me keep you safe and protected-oriented. So somebody's brother's friend's kid has nothing to do with you, and therefore, he's not interested because his only interest is keeping you and his family and the people he loves okay. Sometimes you can share a story like that, and a man will laugh if it's short and he can follow it. And he'll be there with you for it. If you keep it, say to him, I just have to tell you the funniest story. It'll only take me 2 minutes. Beyond that, again, the glaze will happen because he can't follow it. So now I want to talk to you a minute because this is a big disconnect between men and women. It is the word I care and the word I love you. We as women, when we say something like, I care about you, but our relationship is not enough, we use the word care in a way of breaking up with someone. But men, when they care about you, that's what they say. I care about you. They're saying, I love you without saying, I love you. If a man says, I care about you, you have got gold there. That is huge. That's more important than I love you. Because I care about you means I care about what happens to you and I'm going to keep you safe. A lot of men, especially men that are players, very easy for them to say, I love you. They're just words. They won't say, I care about you that way. They'll say, I love you, and then they don't follow it up with actions. A man that says, I really care about you, is saying, I care about you. I want to be in a relationship with you. But we're hearing it as, oh my God, he's breaking up with me. Because that's how we break up with men. I care about you, but I don't love you, or however we do it. So I want you to remember this the next time you're with a man and you're waiting to hear those words, I love you, but he says, I care about you. Think, oh my God, he does care. He does love me, and it's okay. Really important. Another thing about men you want to understand too is it's so easy for us to emasculate them without realizing it. We were taught to be such nurturers and such caregivers. We're looking around and we're thinking, what does everybody need? What can I do for them? So let's say it's cold outside and you're walking and he says to you, honey, are you cold? Or even if you're on a first date, he says to you, are you cold? And you go, yeah. And he says, let me give you my jacket. And you turn around and you say to him, but aren't you cold? Now we think we're being really nice. And we are, but we're also emasculating a man. He is willing to give up his coat to keep you warm and to keep you happy because he's starting to care about you, or he does care about you. But it's almost like you second guessed him when you said, but won't you be cold? It's like you took away his ability to be your knight in shining armor, your hero. And he's okay if he's cold. He just doesn't want to see you cold. This is a huge thing we do all the time as women. We emasculate men without realizing it. We ask a man his opinion, and then we say, okay, thanks, and we go do what we want. One of the best things that you can do is only ask a man if you are willing to take that opinion and use it. Because a man thinks, God, I said all this stuff. I took the time. I took the effort to say this, and she totally disregarded it. Whereas we're on community. So we're thinking, wow, when we're thinking this, we're thinking we have to gather a lot of opinions, and then we can make our decision. That's community. But if you do want to ask a man, take the opinion. My second husband, I asked him about a car I was going to lease. And he did not like the person I was leasing from. And he said to me, I think you're getting a bad deal. Why don't you try this? Or why don't you check out this? And I blew him off. I did what I wanted because I am woman, I am roar, I know better than you. I emasculated him. First of all, I came across with this attitude of, I know more than you. And that was belittling to him. I truly took him down to a little person by doing that. Secondly, I blew off his opinion because I didn't respect it. And a man who doesn't feel respected by you won't stay there. He's going to start to feel like nothing he does will ever make you happy. Have you ever had a man leave in a relationship and say, I hope you find someone that can make you happy? That happened to me. I was on a cruise. My second husband and I, we were celebrating our second anniversary, and we were at dinner. I was reading a book by Wayne Dyer, and I decided I'm going to use this piece. It's about gifting to a man or to someone that you love. And I said, if I could give you the best anniversary gift, it would be that you could communicate, that we could communicate better. He turned and he looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, Lisa, if I could give you a gift, it would be a man who could make you happy. I stood up. I was so insulted. I stood up. I walked out. And that was the beginning of the end of our relationship. We came back and separated a week later. I didn't understand what he had said to me. What he was really saying to me is, Lisa, you don't respect me, so I will never be able to make you happy. And I really want you to have someone in your life that can. But I heard it as, go find someone else that can make you happy, because obviously you're not happy here. And that isn't what he was saying. So I hope in our show today, I really, really helped you get clearer on some things about men. We'll talk more about men as we go along. Men are amazing. The thing that we have to remember, like I mentioned earlier, is they are not women. They absolutely are not women. And they don't think like women. They don't talk like women. And we have to stop putting them into the woman's mindset because they don't have our mindset. Men are much simpler than we are, very directed, very much want to be your hero, very much caring about you and wanting to make you happy. And if you allow that, like I do now, you can have the most amazing relationship. I never thought I could have such a great relationship, and it is because I now understand men. And that's why I love helping women find love after 50. And if you're interested in finding out more about what I do and you're interested in working with me, come on over to findaqualityman.com and go under the coaching tab and let's set up a time to talk. The other thing is, if you haven't gotten it yet, get my free report, The 5 Little Known Secrets for Finding Quality Men After 50. It is filled with tons of tips on finding men in the area you live and online. And if you want to go even deeper, head over and get my book on Amazon, The Winning Dating Formula for Women Over 50. You can find it over there. I'm Lisa Copeland of the You Can Find Love After 50 show on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I'm so glad you joined me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.